Welcome to AI News in 10, your top AI and tech news podcast in about 10 minutes. AI tech is amazing and is changing the world fast. For example, this entire podcast is curated and generated by AI using my and my kids' cloned voices. It's Monday, December 15th. Here's your quick tour through the biggest AI and tech stories shaping the week. We've got a bankruptcy and buyout for the company behind Roomba, a pivotal appeals court ruling that could reshape how Apple charges for purchases outside the App Store, a very cool Google Translate upgrade that turns any headphones into a real-time interpreter, a compensation shakeup at OpenAI aimed at winning the AI talent war, and a wildcard from space, Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin working on orbital data centers for AI. Let's get into it. But first, let's hear a word from our sponsors.
Need elite developers fast? Elite Coders connects you with rigorously vetted senior engineers in 24 to 48 hours. Staff augmentation, dedicated teams, or full project delivery, we've got you covered. Visit elitecoders.co to get started today.
Now, let's dive into today's stories. Story 1. Roomba's parent, iRobot, has filed for Chapter 11 and plans to go private under an acquisition by its primary manufacturer, Paisea Robotics. The plan hands Paisea full ownership by cancelling roughly $190 million in loans, plus other obligations tied to their manufacturing deal. iRobot says your robot, the app, and support should keep working during restructuring. This move follows years of margin pressure from cheaper rivals and tariffs, including a reported 46% levy on Vietnamese imports that added about $23 million in costs this year, and the collapse of its proposed Amazon buyout in 2024. Reporting says iRobot still has meaningful market share in the United States and Japan, but pricing pressure and debt left the company with limited options. The company also tried to calm fears about devices bricking if the cloud went dark, and again, iRobot says services will continue during the process. Why this matters? iRobot was an early consumer AI pioneer. Its fate is a case study in what happens when incumbents face lower-cost competitors, supply chain shocks, and thwarted mergers, all while customers rely on cloud-connected features that raise tough questions during bankruptcy. Story 2. A consequential legal update in the Apple Epic saga. A 3-judge panel at the Ninth Circuit largely upheld a civil contempt finding against Apple for how it implemented a 2021 injunction that allows developers to link to payment options outside the App Store. The court criticized Apple's approach. Think the 27% fee on external purchases and design restrictions that discouraged off-platform payments. But it also said an outright ban on any commission goes too far. The case now heads back to the district court to set a reasonable commission tied to Apple's costs and IP, without letting security and privacy become a backdoor surcharge. In short, Apple still has to open the door, but it can likely charge something for purchases it doesn't process. Multiple outlets also note the court's rejection of scare screens and design limits that made outside payments less attractive. Why this matters. Developers get clarity that external links are here to stay, but they'll need to budget for a court-blessed fee. Apple avoids a precedent of zero commissions and gains a path to monetize off-platform transactions, subject to judicial guardrails. Story 3. Google Translate just got a Gemini-powered glow-up. 2 big parts here. First, smarter text translations that better handle nuance, idioms, and slang. Stealing my thunder is less likely to turn into a literal word salad. Second, a live speech-to-speech translation beta that works with any headphones, not just Pixel Buds. The beta is rolling out on Android in the United States, Mexico, and India, covering more than 70 languages, with iOS expected next year. Early hands-on reports say the feature retains tone and cadence, so conversations feel more natural. Google also says the upgrade is now live for English with nearly 20 languages for improved text quality, and it expands the app's practice feature to help you sharpen skills. Smart distribution. Translate has massive daily use, making it a runway for Gemini in the real world. Why this matters? Real-time in-ear translation is inching from sci-fi to standard. For travelers, students, frontline workers, and globally distributed teams, it's a quality-of-life upgrade that shows how AI will quietly embed into everyday tools. Before we continue, here's a quick message from our sponsors.
This episode is brought to you by Family GPT, the AI chat platform actually designed for kids. If your children are curious about ChatGPT, but you're worried about what they might see,
Family GPT gives you full parental controls, content filtering, and the ability to align responses with your family's values, whether Christian, Muslim, Jewish, secular, and many more. Monitor every conversation, set usage limits, and let your kids explore AI safely. No ads, no data selling, complete privacy. Sign up free at familygpt.chat. That's FAMILYGPT.chat.
All right, let's get back to it. Story 4. OpenAI has ended its 6-month vesting cliff for employee equity, meaning new hires start vesting immediately. The change, shared internally by applications chief Fujisimo, follows an earlier move that shortened the vesting period from the traditional 12 months to 6. OpenAI sees this as a way to de-risk early tenure for recruits and stay competitive in a talent market where rivals, including XAI, have loosened equity rules. Why this matters. With model launches, safety research, and infrastructure build-outs accelerating, hiring speed and retention are strategic weapons. Policy tweaks like removing cliffs might sound HR-ish, but they ripple across recruiting funnels and can shape where top talent lands and what gets built next. Story 5. From the cloud to orbit. Blue Origin has been developing technology for space-based data centers aimed at AI workloads. Think continuous solar power, abundant cooling via radiative heat rejection, and the ability to offload energy-hungry inference from Earth-strained grids. Jeff Bezos has mused that orbital data centers could beat land-based ones in the next 10 to 20 years. SpaceX is reportedly upgrading Starlink satellites to accommodate AI computing payloads, setting up a fascinating race over who brings compute to space first. And in academia, researchers have floated a tethered chain architecture for sun-synchronous, solar-powered orbital AI clusters, arguing for multi-megawatt compute with manageable latency back to Earth. We're early, but the pieces are moving. Why this matters? As AI demand runs headlong into power and cooling bottlenecks, space offers persistent sunlight and different thermal trade-offs. If launch costs keep falling and satellite servicing matures, orbital compute could complement terrestrial data centers, especially for inference-heavy workloads that benefit from stable, scalable power. Quick recap. iRobot is heading through Chapter 11 with its manufacturer stepping in to take control. Apple lost big parts of its appeal in the Epic case, but won a chance to charge a reasonable fee on external links. Google Translate's Gemini upgrade makes real-time in-ear translation practical for more people. OpenAI's vesting cliff change turns the talent dial another notch. And Blue Origin's space data center work hints at a future where AI compute orbits above the grid. We'll keep watching how these threads evolve through the week. Thanks for listening, and a quick disclaimer. This podcast was generated and curated by AI using my and my kids' cloned voices. If you want to know how I do it or want to do something similar, reach out to me at iamad@ainewsin10.com. That's AI news in 10.com. See you all tomorrow.